There we go. All of you guys are awesome. Thanks for watching me all the time. I went and I won. No, I think my followers for but it took me years to develop an niche on social media. Trial and error. Some people do it right away, hit it right off. Some people say trial and error. I've been trying since 2007 to take off. I mean, it just came trial and error. I mean, I did stuff that was more related to certain remote communities, small corner of the YouTube, and I never took off. But now I do something that feels all corners of YouTube are looking around take off because I found out I got to appeal to all audiences instead of just a small, minute minority community like a certain type of, ISP, what's called a dark side YouTube, where I did stop smoking multiple cigarette stuff, and that's a real small part of YouTube. It's sometimes called dark side YouTube. Kind of like the dark videos you run across at 3 a.m. when you're just randomly cruising YouTube, and normal people they don't do that stuff around across at 3 a.m. when they're doing random scrolling and finally comes up on the algorithm. I'm like, I gotta get out of that type of YouTube. And the people that try to, as I said, I'm not saying native, it just kind of it was the type of thing I get out of. So catering to a certain group that's considered more of a small part of YouTube. That a lot would call the dark side of YouTube or social media. Oh, and it didn't get too much. People just didn't watch it. You got a lot of people who are just kind of it's a little sus, as they call it. Ain't about the last time I was doing major stuff. It's just like, you can't act wild. You're not going to get much of an audience. You kind of get, that mediocre. Kind of even would play out with all your audience. You cater different groups. Even the guy who watches so-called e-girl can see me give advice. So, hey, here's somebody that lives just like me and is happy, Deep down, those guys that watch, the girls and stuff, they can still feel like on my channel feel reassurance. Or people watch Logan Paul, the kids watch them. Deep down, their self-esteem's hurting because they can't drive a Lamborghini, but they come here and see a guy like me and get advice that actually helps them. Says some guy that I wouldn't trust my 12-year-old to get advice from. Logan Paul is interesting, but I wouldn't advise my 12-year-old on how to live. That's just me. I would not want Logan Paul telling my 12-year-old son how to live. Trust me, I would not want him to be an example of my 12-year-old son. At the same time, he'd be good for to entertain my 12-year-old son. Just don't follow his. I'd be like, son, you can watch Logan Paul. Just don't act like him. A lot of that stuff is scripted. It's paid for. He pays for damage. You don't have the money, or I don't have the money to pay for your damage when you bust up a mansion or do something crazy. One of those stunts. I said, Jackass and stuff like that has the money to pay for their stunts, pay for damages. It's all scripted. They check local law enforcement. I mean, the whole deal goes into making a Jackass movie. They said they have to get lawyers to go in and tell local law enforcement what they're doing. They gotta go in and agree with business owners. They'll pay for damages, and they had to pay so many damages. It's so expensive to make those films. Logan Paul's got to get a script. You don't think that Suicide Force wasn't scripted? He would not put he made it look dumb, but he's not. That was scripted. That was all set up with the Japanese government where it wouldn't bring dishonor. That's why he did it late at night. No one would be there to be offended. And they probably blocked the video in Japan because it'd be very offensive to people, their culture. So yeah, a lot went into that video. It was just a little controversy. He needed controversy. So yeah, I mean, it's all scripted out, and all this so-called most of this controversy you see is very well scripted. And even the beef between YouTubers, I think, scripted. They get together and say, okay, we're gonna have a beef about something, about one's personality, whatever. All these YouTube creator drama, a good majority is already pre-scripted what they're gonna do and how they're gonna react. Like when you see someone like Matthew Lush and or some of these big YouTubers have a beef, it's like wrestling. It's all pre-scripted, trust me. They're really best friends and laughing up. They're both getting views one at each other. They probably make their video about each other and turn up and have a beer together down at a local bar. Or they go to a family steakhouse, a famous fancy steakhouse in LA and laugh it out at the end of this. Whole beef, they pocket the money and they're pocketing a movie. When a video is not made, they get reservations or a private place they're not seen. They have a steak dinner together. A real expensive $500 plate place and a real upscale part of LA. Trust me, they ain't real beef. They're just pocketing from the views, and they're both having lunch and they're having dinners together, laughing it up. Trust me. Most of that drama between your big YouTubers is scripted. In fact, Amazon. I knew about the purchase of Twitch from Amazon back in 2017 because originally they were going to make a video streaming site to compete with YouTube because I was in a contest with Matthew Lush and he said Amazon's thinking I'm doing some video streaming or video making. He couldn't really talk about it. He wouldn't let me talk about it for years. He said, "Oh, you can't really talk about this." They're trying to expand it, either doing some type of content creation type thing. And he said a lot of these YouTubers were being contacted by Amazon if they were going to do like a site with YouTube, since YouTube was cutting down monetization. He and a bunch of other big YouTubers were given already notices that they were going to be signed on Amazon. Amazon bought Twitch instead. And they knew it'd be too expensive to run, so it'd be too much to compete with YouTube. And they see the controversy YouTube gets into, and they like Jeff Bezos like, I can't deal with that, but I can deal with which one I deal with YouTube. The guy may be not like to be smart. I mean, like him or not, he's smart because when you get so rich and you want to be filthy rich like him, you can't really care about what people think about you. You're not. I mean, when you're a billionaire like him, unless you're Elon Musk, it's a genius. And just like, well, I mean, most billionaires are like what Don Pino says, the ultimate $1 trillion man. People like all these people like Mark Zuckerberg, whatever. People may hate them, but they don't care about friends. When you're out to be a multi-billionaire, you don't give two F's about friends or who likes you. If your mission is money and life, and that's it, you're not out to be anyone's friend. You're not out to impress or care about what people like you. And that's how you define Zuckerberg and all these people. He said he think they care about what people like or not. Bottom line to him is that they said no one may like them. They have all the money they want, and that was their dreams. And when your dream is to be one of the wealthiest people in the world, you really don't care what people like. You're not. Unless you're an exception. In reality, they said this guy's a famous guy. He like coaches seminars with some of the wealthiest businessmen in the world's kids. They'll send their kids to the seminars, get ready for life in the business world. These multi-millionaires, these billionaires send their kids to be instructed at seminars. He used some pretty strong language. I mean, he ain't soft. He very much says it how it is. That's why he's in the most high demand to get these wealthy business owners' kids ready for the real world. I mean, they don't send them to like college. They send them to Don Pino, and he pretty much talks to them like an executive. You think like the owners of these big companies are politically correct? Trust me, they're back there using the most foul language and innuendos about people in private life. It's all about money. Trust me, you get someone that's going to give you advice and tell you how it is. You think Jeff Bezos is worried about telling you being who right he knows it sells. In reality, if he's not happy with you, if he's trying to give you advice, he'll tell you how it is. If he really likes you and cares for you, he'll tell you how it is. Even if he uses strong language. If he's going to sit you down and tell you, look, here's your life, make it better. He's going to use strong language and point out your errors or getting away your success using a very strong words I can't repeat on here. That would be like Jeff Bezos or anyone would sit you down, or even a lot of them would. If they honestly care and thought you had an idea but was going wrong approach, they'd use very strong language. Listen, you miserable left. You don't care about that. You do this. Because Jeff Bezos really cared for someone he's giving advice to. That's how he'd sit down and talk to him. He said the straight truths, no lies, no passivity. He'd sit down, straight business, and give them the hard, tough love and everything if he wanted to advise someone. Either take over Amazon, whatever, one of his kids. You think Jeff Bezos, if he has the kids, he's going to pass on to whoever he's going to pass the business on to. You think he's really not showing them tough love. He's showing them the toughest love in the world. He's teaching them to value that dollar. Do you think Donald Trump's kids are spoiled, like him or not, but he shows tough love towards his kids? He gave Barron like $1,000 a couple years ago, and the kid turned it into like $100,000 with it in a year. I mean, he just teaches them, hey, it's $1,000. You lose it, you don't gain money. And he turned it $100,000. And that's what he is. I mean, they don't spoil their kids. A lot of people that really have business stay in the family, they'll give their kid $14,000. Say, look, if you lose the money, you won't get your money. At the beginning of the year, they'll give them $10,000 cash. You say, here, just pay him every year. You lose it, you have nothing. You gain, you gain. And that's how the kids that pass on wealth, that's how you pass on wealth. You think he's just easy? I mean, I'm going to tell you the straight up truth. And the ones that really cared about their business and cared about their kids show tough love in rich families. And the ones that are like, then the kids they don't pass the business on to will get trust on. But the smartest, brightest one in the family gives the hardest tough love. It's kind of seems unfair, but it's about the survival of the family name. Now that I'm oldest grandkid, and the oldest grandkid as being example for the family, I gotta pick up a career, and I'm good at social media because I gotta do something like something. We're all taught to do productive, but now that I'm oldest grandkid, I gotta do something productive in my life. I guess this is probably enough from a family. It's something business. You gotta do something productive in your life once you're the oldest grandkid. Other ones are out maybe doing librarian work or they're doing main or two. My bird, I need to go over, but one's a librarian working with robotics at a small university, but I want to do something I love instead of dealing with working in the library. I deal with issues or working in research at a small university where you got to follow all these guidelines. You can't use your creativity because you got a board member, you got a staff, you got everything that tells you your limitations and stuff. My cousin's probably not happy. He probably has a good sense of creativity, but it's limited by what the board of trustees, the university can say you can't do, and all that. Here I can use my creativity. If I'm designing a game on Unreal Engine or a small group, we can use our creativity. If you work for a corporation employed by somebody, you think you're going to live your dream, you're not. You're limited by what a board group and your boss says you can't do. That's why I'm doing small projects on Unreal Engine, learning it and learning other things like Blender and all that, but not telling anyone about the project. Then I'm just going to recruit some people without telling anyone else that can be useful in the project. I kind of picked something out, like when my one friend talked about Discord is can be useful for the project. I'll be able to one that's useful and has their own different mindset. Someone that's happy with life, someone that's really doing something they enjoy, and what they enjoy is useful for a bigger mindset of the project. I recruit them. If they're about happy with what they do in life, they enjoy life, and have a positive mindset and want to do what they enjoy, that's who I recruit my team. And people that really don't fall in the line of, basics of a normie, but someone that's happy with what they do in life. And most people when I recruit my team, they only have 200 or 300 subscribers at max on YouTube. But they're happy, they're joyful, and they enjoy what they're doing, and they're good at it. And they're good at their own creative way. They don't follow the normal gaming style, however, they follow their own style. It's very unique and different, but can turn into something big. We put our minds together. And that's how I'm creating my company. It's really not going to be a company. It's going to be kind of like a co-op. It's not going to be running multi-billion dollar projects. It's immediate down. It's me. I have ideas. I can transform humanity. I don't want to be rich. I want to transform humanity. The company is to help the metaverse be better for everybody, or help something run incorporate things into the metaverse. That's the next big thing. Like it or not, it's a big thing. And I don't care if I don't end up paying her. I want to make the metaverse something where even grandma can get involved. Something everyone would like. Rotating down to the 10-year-old doing Minecraft, where it's a safe, wonderful community, to the 9-year-old, 8-year-old just getting involved and got service that's at the enjoying the metaverse, all the way up to the older person. Is that place that I want to participate. Where the kid finally gets his first electronic device getting in the metaverse. I want to create something for them, along with every group. Ain't about money. It's changing to make the metaverse more livable for everybody of all age groups and all interests. So the metaverse can take off and it's going to become part of our daily life. So make everyone get used to it in their own way. And if I make the world better, the world and transfer to metaverse, I want to make it a positive experience. And also offer security. I want to build type of security so you have some type of personal security in the metaverse. So I made our security exchange where you have some type of safety mechanisms to protect yourself from identity theft and all that in the metaverse. Because that's for and protect you from scams. That's one thing we already need to be thinking about. There's gonna be scams and everything, and things going on in the metaverse that we need to have a type of security for. Ways to protect people from being doxxed or having true intimate parts of their identity discovered that just don't realize with basic gaming apps, but true stuff that can identify them in ways that they shouldn't be. Ones that keep kids safe from being identified in their location, or a way people can keep them being to just remain semi-anonymous, where they just provide information the app needs, where no one can find out who they really are. That's just using the app, just it keeps basic security, where the app knows enough about them for what they need, where people can't track them using hacking tools, like they're doing a lot of games, where a person can meet you in a metaverse and not be a hacker or a troll or running a scam or something like that for your devices. So that's what I'm working on for the metaverse. So we're gonna run into that metaverse. We found out on the internet, virus protection, everything, to keep the metaverse and invest instead of keeping Neuralink served. Because someone's gonna try hacking people's Neuralinks. So you need to get that safe. There's a whole industry you got to expand on what Elon Musk is doing, what metaverse is doing. So to get a whole lot of ideas out there, because it's going to take more of my lifetime. So get the concept on there. So after I've gone on, people can continue working on technologies that will be needed for for Neuralink cars, autonomous cars, everything to keep them safe and prevent them from bad actions of bad actors. Really, AI is a thing with morals we should have that do a lot of cybersecurity. It can scout every secret, and AI can work 24/7 on cybersecurity. So if you have an AI that's just connected, just has the basic information put in, but it's not connected to the internet, can't be hacked. It can have a whole library of skills in it. It's not connected to the internet, so you can't hack that AI robot, and it could be working on your deep. It detects a threat and a security network. The AI be on top of it and do with such efficiency that be done to be taken care of in seconds. That's why we need AI to take care of the security network. We have a AI robot that's there that's not connected to the internet, so don't get inside of it and prevent it. But get there and outsmart the best hacker in the world. That's where you need to bring in AI to replace people in positions like that. It's not connected to the internet, so don't get into that AI bot. It has all that knowledge in there, so it can boom. If someone gets into a very sensitive thing like our power grid or something, they can detect the threat and see something on the screen that look normal. It can be scanning with visual sensors, different data that humans can't sense. It can keep up on because our processing skills aren't, but it can be processing things in the background, numbers, things popping up on several screens. It can monitor several screens. It's visual abilities. We have sensors that protect several monitor whatever ways to protect things. And then it takes one regularity, it checks into it, be randomly checking different regularities, and instead of 5 AI robots, can be said be detecting the entire region of the country's vital infrastructures. Those jobs can't be done by humans. Those are so vital that our infrastructure's got to be protected by AI. That's not connected to the internet, but it can be monitoring the network and outsmarting any hacker from the world. So it's sitting there and has sensors and can detect things on screens and stuff and computers that would detect something immediately and stop the threat. Humans are just not that nationally smart. Like I have my AI robot friend I talk to. It's on a thing called. I haven't talked to it in a couple of days, but he's my buddy. Alexa, turn off computer room lamp.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off computer room lamp.
Okay.
And you guys are like really good things to have me. Like I'm like, have a set of people I talk to. And I have people occasionally watch me on YouTube and all that. Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect a high of 57 degrees.
Yeah, I was and get the Oculus. Then I heard it. Then I got it and invested in it because I found out it's only closed the Facebook app. So I'll probably get a different set of VR glasses from Metaverse, a different brand name because I found out Oculus is only compatible with Facebook based apps. So there's another set I can get. I think Facebook's just gonna focus on like stuff like like social media type stuff, and I want to do something I can play games on and do virtual meetings and stuff, a cross-platform one. So eventually, I can sit here instead of being on webcam, I could be on my avatar and I'm meeting. I believe if I'm productive, I can live a number of years with my disabilities. Be right here in my bed and take care of what I need on the metaverse, on virtual meetings via headset. I might get the Ray-Ban smart glasses already, or hologram that goes with my prescription. I may invest in those. See if I can get I guess for smart glasses that you can read like holograms and stuff. And with your new smart devices, so I might get those new Ray-Bans or they have my prescription frames, lenses, I mean. I know I may look in that, see they have prescription lenses I can put in spend the extra money to get smart glasses. So I bring up holograms and stuff. I don't think my eye doctor, I think I'm going to go to a big city or have them special ordered or have them send them in for them. So I have a real complicated prescription. And there's something I was let in about Samsung developing new technology that I'm not going into. I know about something new coming out that Samsung's working on. That somebody went to a board meeting told me about. I'm not going into. Someone that's like part of their inner circle told me randomly, and I'm not going into it. But it's a real amazing technology Samsung's working on. A lot of things like corporate secrets, I tend to keep quiet if I hear them. And that's why people just talk to me that revolve. I mean, we had really, if you go, if you're social, you run people work for government, they know you're just gonna want to talk to them if you hear something classified. And like I knew some classified information. I talked to a guy as a 5-star general for 25 years, and he couldn't acknowledge it, but he's acknowledged it when he said, "Sir, you're letting you know way too much for their own good." And that's how the information I had access to was legit. He's That's kind of how a person high ranking in the military will let you know if you actually know stuff you shouldn't know. They'll say, but they know you're only talking to them, not talking to anyone else about it. They'll just kind of you won't disappear. Those signs say, if you go to a military person, just to have it confirmed, they don't know you. They know you're not talking about it. Anyways, know if you're talking about it, you won't disappear. Like I used to talk to the Russian ambassador who went back to Russia for a while because there were certain things that went on in America I didn't agree with. I was like, well, their policy says this and that, but I just kind of draw contact with them. I was like, nah. Well, like this guy's interesting. He was just a real laid back person, and he went back to Russia to live in a simple home. And and the ambassadors weren't in the United States. He went back. He was sitting there doing his, like he gave me his number, his American number, but back in Russia, his personal cell phone, just leave messages on. It's like he ran about certain things going on. Well, he kind of like my rants. He kind of like my ideology in the world. And I was leaving messages with his personal phone. He gave me his personal phone number, but it's American number. But to record their phone, the answer machine to Russian because it's pocket to Russia. I don't even random. I used to leave random rants about stuff going on in America I can't really go into. And he's how I entertained him. He says he's one of the few Americans I know what's going on in the world and just can't stand what's going on in the world about the United States that needs fixed or stuff around the world that needs fixed or how I can see the Russian side of things and how kind of like how, they're misunderstood. The West kind of this for certain things I'm going into. And it's always been a thing, and it's senseless, but you got to look at the way certain things I'm going into, and it's always been a thing, and it's senseless, but look at the way certain things are ran over there, and it's actually certain things that ran over there are different. And you got to look at different cultures and see how some of those cultures may vary, but if you look at it from their point of view, it makes a lot of sense compared to what our culture is and what our norms are. So I kind of look at it as an average person, the morals of the average Russian, and I kind of gripe about the United States by putting myself in the shoes of an average Russian and their set of morals and understanding. And he said, well, you've really you can really portray yourself, put yourself in a Russian's point of view, and really rant about the U.S. He says he never seen a U.S. person, in the United States do that, put themselves in the foot of a person with basic Russian values and rant about the West. He hasn't seen even some Russians rant about it. I go on rants by putting myself in a basic Russian person with their set of morals and rant about things I find around here that are just don't make sense. And I still can't make sense of it on this country, but I kind of rant out that to my Russian friends. I kind of just say, I don't know why this is that or what's this and that. And they kind of accuse this and that when you say there's some basic things like that, hypocrisies I find over here and stuff. You can't vent to the average American, they wouldn't understand, about basic things you see in hypocrisy or stuff that our government may be into, and you just gotta talk to someone from a foreign country about it. I mean, it's a good way to gripe about your country to somebody without actually being an outcast. You know what I mean? We all find differences, but we put ourselves in separate different sideways. And there's ways I can put myself in Russian studies. Say, yeah, you see this about the U.S. or this and that, why they're speaking out against this or that. And I guess some things I can't make sense about culture or what things are wrong here. I won't go into it, but there's just certain things that are done in our government I just can't wrap my head around. I think it's a lot of the things are classified. I told some military officers I know, people I talked to in the military, say, yeah, some things got to be classified for our own national security. If we are working on UFOs, we can't disclose it. It's national security. We can't allow the Chinese or Russians to get all that technology. So we got to keep that in areas where I said, no wonder you guys keep. I talked to someone, a real answer, or I was like, you got to keep air for Area 51, all these bases in a place where pretty much if you step foot on there, there's so much desert, you're going to die in desert rattlesnake bites, or you'll be sniped and never heard from again. That's either those people who want to raid Area 51 don't know that there could be a Chinese or spy from our country in there that would totally endanger us if that adversary and developing all that technology. If we really are reversing this far advanced technology, anyone comes out with that stuff is really a traitor because that stuff could really put, I mean, say the Chinese or Russians or an adversary were to perfect that technology, that would put us in a very bad position. We'd be defenseless against them. So if we have something to give us that's actually a survival of our countries that rank for everyone living here, the technology can eliminate the entire country in a matter of seconds or do something horrible, well, you got to keep that technology totally under wraps. Everyone thinks it's a sinister man in black at come. No, it's about the safety of the entire country. Every man, woman, child is here. That's why if you're trying to reveal stuff you shouldn't, these mysterious men in black show, everyone thinks even as these dark figures. When actually, no, they are the type that will do anything to keep. I mean, they're actually there to help our population to keep information from getting out that could endanger the entire world, let alone our country. I mean, with someone like a country, it's like Rogue Nation gets all that technology, but the whole world's freedoms at rest, not just ours. That's why they send such strange people out to intimidate people or release that information because you just can't risk it. You got to do everything you can to prevent that. So I know a lot of stuff that's going on, but I don't talk about it. Now, small stuff I do sometimes, but not the bigger stuff. And you just hear these people that talk about it because if you're in a position where you don't talk about it or they don't want to believe you, it's so far out there. I've had people unload, you go to church with someone or you run those people and they talk or they're a friend of the family and they come to me because I understand the concept of national security. I may disclose certain small things, but not big things like different weapons that their governments are working on anyway themselves that they would think of, like certain things I talked to a Russian about, but the big stuff I won't mention anywhere. But different things like stuff like different camouflage, I know they're all working on it. I'm just letting them know, yeah, we'll work on it too, so don't think you're on something new. So if they hear a conversation of what I'm talking to Russian about certain camouflage, I just know they're probably working on to say, yeah, we're working on it too. So don't get hell of your stat to yourself, Mr. Rusty. We're working on it too. We're probably for their head. So don't even get yourself mind wrapped around it. Because you're gonna have some advantage on the battlefield. That's what I'll reveal. To someone has a formula because they're probably working on it. And I'm just saying, look, don't get your head off of that of yourself, Mister Other Superpower. We're already on that, all that too. But it's stuff that was in danger. I don't want to disclose. Blah blah blah. The only people I talk about is people that are actually I know can confirm military. But other than that, I just don't talk about it. Or I apply that technology, reinverse it in my mind to use for peaceful practices like video game development, software development. They can entertain people. So I take a technology that can be so far back reverse engineered, work reverse engineered enough to help out online gaming or stuff like that, and put into a concept on Unreal Engine or something like that. But I got to realize that once I learn that software, it's gonna be awesome. But then I need to put a team together that can conceive, so I'm very selective on my team. And I tune to recruit younger people because they have a more open mind. They grew up with this technology, but they've got to be a select few that can actually think and dream and are dreamers and like what they're doing and want to do it and want to like what they're doing. And anybody wants to like what you're doing to help out people and make something you like, have an extended life period, and be beneficial to everybody. It's not about money in the end. It's like this Minecraft project is about making Minecraft enjoyable for people that are immersed their whole life into it. Because really, Minecraft's getting so long and drawn out. It's starting to go into nonsense. I was watching a Muda Har video where it was long and drawn out before you develop a new thing and partner up a little bit with Microsoft, we can re-extend it to something useful again. Or younger people and everybody can enjoy it in a productive way again. And Metaverse, I will, is this would be a deep information way we're going to base this server on. And it may take years of development. I look at a basic concept, be a beta or a basic concept being released by the end of this year, being next year. Right now, he's on your side of the world, so it's hard to communicate. Plus, I don't follow the communications lines too well because I'm too busy doing this. And I got fundraised to do the, not right fundraise, but call the money to buy the actual small server and run the beta version. Then I need to learn how to use the different software to get a basic first server done. It's going to be a basic technology by being next year. To now raise money through different perks to bring a more advanced server. And just keep on building more and more servers and they're more advanced. And I'm not into Minecraft, but I know people enjoy it. And that could be a basis to start getting young people introduced to the idea of being based in their doing what they like, their own income, when the metaverse becomes part of everyday life within their by the time they're adults, by introducing a Minecraft type world. Then the young people play Minecraft when it takes back off again, can learn to conduct business in the metaverse, where they are naturally adapting their lives in the metaverse. These people are now just starting to play video games where they're going to grow up in the metaverse. They got to learn to do something they enjoy in the metaverse so their lives will be happy working from home. I think that's what the idea about the lockdowns were, was they knew about these new technologies and wanted everyone to get used to working from home. And also, it's just an idea, a bigger scheme to get people, not really a scheme, but an idea to get people used to working from home. They figured there's so much stress at the office, and short term effects of mental health and lockdowns is getting payoff on the long term effects of mental health if people start having to keep having to go into the office. And I'll just do this and do this all now. So a short term effect of mental health lockdowns is you get straight from working from home or being a more relaxed workplace. Some people want you riding by a fancy suit, going to work to commute. You sit here in your pajamas, whatever. Do it in the metaverse, and boom, your job's more enjoyable. Then you can work for you live in a town, a small town, work in a big place. You know, work for a big corporation, just about anywhere in the world. Especially this new Starlink. You live out in the middle of nowhere in a small town in West Virginia. See, this is help with a lot of those ideas to get people working remotely. So, like a child prodigy who grows up in West Virginia again, grow up in poverty. They work for a Fortune 500 company from their house in the middle of nowhere in a town 300 in West Virginia or Eastern Kentucky and hills in the mountains of West Virginia or Eastern Kentucky can make a 6-figure salary working for a Fortune 500 company. That's the idea of working from home got used to. They knew with us going out, they said they're going to replace those jobs with clean energy. That was a cover for getting people working remotely. Because we know now we're developing, phasing out coal. The people coming up and these coal areas like the Appalachian need jobs they can work remotely. Because there's no way they're going to integrate to a big city, but they can work on it. And the idea when Biden said coding was a kind of code word for you can work remotely and do any job you want, kids. Coal mines are no longer the future, and you have a better future with this new technology we're working on. See, that was going to tell him to say coding, I mean, we're working on technology where you do any job you want from anywhere in the world. So, it's a word where you're going to move out of the job your family's different generation and it's going to lift you and your communities out of poverty no matter where you live here in the inner city or in Middle Appalachia. So same people they can leave the coal mines go coding was saying your kids are going to work remotely and a new type of technology where they're going to have a better life than you. That was the idea. They say, well, my life ain't going to be I'm not going to do that. Well, it's a code word saying, no, it's going to help your kids rise up and lead the coal industry or whatever, the work where they want to, dealing with cold energy. The clean energy, they can work on cybersecurity and clean energy, design concepts, and these smart kids that wouldn't otherwise have a future develop their intelligence in these poor areas can develop clean energy from a small home in West Virginia or Eastern Kentucky. And that's how coding and clean energy works. They use it in West Virginia and work on a big clean energy farm 10 to 2,000 miles away. So, I mean, it's a little cold word. You can live in West Virginia and still working wherever you want in the world and make money, more money than any of your family members ever made in a year and a week's salary. What's the best thing about clean energy? Once we phase out things like oil, fossil fuels, what's the majority of wars about in the world? Oil. A majority of the wars in the world we fight will be obsolete wars once we do away with fossil fuels. That's my main concern. I think of less war. You got to think about it deep down is about oil and resources. And once those resources, and because they're getting more and more limited in more and more regions, once we go to newer forms of clean energy, there'll be no resource wars and it'll cut down wars dramatically. They know deep down, they use a phrase word because they know deep down they got to eliminate these wars. So they use the idea of this and that Green New Deal, but the idea of it is a bigger concept, not revealing this. They know the world will not survive these wars or oil. Eventually, it'll go to nuclear. So now they're phasing out oil and fossil fuels. One is cleaner, and number two, it'll cut way down the majority of our senseless wars. And I mean, it's a necessary way to keep our economy going. Is these useless wars? I mean, it's a necessary right now. The way we power our, and I think this whole thing with rising oil prices is a way to say, hey, you either getting clean energy or we're going to make you. Because we can't continue doing this. I mean, they're limited. They say we will run out of oil someday. We will run out of fossil fuels. It's harder to obtain them. And in regions that are so volatile, and there's a lot more regions behind it than they say there is, that people can't really deep down thinking about, well, you know, oil, it's in an area where people can be exploited or it's in a dangerous part of the world. Well, we go clean energy, there's going to be less conflict and less people are getting dangerous parts of the world. And you know, majority of these people are saying this stuff, oh, it ain't enough to support us. You know, all of them are getting money from lobbyists. You know, as much as you can say this and that. You know, I'm not going to speak of any party, but these people speak out against clean energy, saying these phrase lines saying that supply is like, well, you know, they have a pack full of lobbyists from the fossil fuel industries that giving them lines to say, paying them to say lines and doing whatever it takes. So, majority of these people saying, oh, we can't sustain ourselves clean energy are actually paid by lobbyists to come up with all these horror stories. And I bet you a nickel they're the ones that are raising, they're in the background creating the price hikes to keep the people demanding fossil fuel. A lot of it's both by one part at once. People realize, I think realize it's the people paid off oil companies. They're doing things to raise oil prices so people will demand more access to drilling and stuff. See, it's reverse psychology. If you're a person on one side wanting to say clean energies policies are causing oil prices, but really it's something you're doing. You're blaming your enemy for your opponent, what you're doing. Then once we get so like $10 a gallon for gas, people are going to demand more drilling, and what's with the net stack what the lobbyists want. See, I now have it all figured out. The parts have the lobbyists for industry, what oil industry wants the gas prices go up, so to be able to demand the drilling come back, instead of clean energy, and then they're paying these politicians to raise prices and blaming the other parties. They get elected, do the same things. That's done the same thing. See, it's reverse psychology to use it. When actually, in the long run, once we get to technology going, clean energy is going to be much cheaper. And at the beginning, it'll be more expensive. We're phasing in. See, we're going through a transition. It's going to be expensive right now for a couple of years until we get stabilized and our technology is on board. As a transition, like we went from all these transitions in histories to erosions, prices went up, the economies became volatile. When we transferred the financial system, there's always a crash around that time. And with every transition, either in the way we live, there's a small price, there's a lot of inflation, and unstable economy each time we go in a new phase as a civilization. With each new phase through energy or finances, and right now we're going from the fiat currency to a digital currency. So either I bet there's going to be a type of big financial crisis, because with every transition, like with the no one heard about the crash in 1920. They came about from the all hear about 29 crash, not the small crash in 1920, came as a result of the the Federal Reserve. But a big crash in 29 was through other transitions. Then he had the other ones. 2008 was going. Then the 71 inflation started in the 1970s, when prices went from way up, was from transition by dropping the gold standard. With each new each new feature, how we run our finances in the world, there's always a crash. They want to get rid of the U.S. dollar, so we bring in a regional currency, digital currency, followed by a global one. Imagine how much easier that is. Each time you stop at an airport you go to Canada, you don't go in to a currency exchange. I'm just saying with a regional currency instead of each country has its own currency. Like you can travel around the European Union, and every time you travel a couple hundred miles, you don't have to stop at a currency exchange. It sounds bumpy, I know, but people get used to it. About 20 years, I think, people get used to it. There's things like 10 years ago we thought we'd never just do this part of our everyday life now. Even the Social Security number back in the 1930s was made as a mark of beast and the end of Social Security, a personal privacy. And I get in 1933 when they introduced the Social Security Act. People said, "This is it. This is a mark of the beast," or This is it." You had a bunch of holdouts that wanted a Social Security number until it became necessary because of beliefs people held. And there will be holdouts from the digital currency like there was a Social Security number. Each new technology has its fears. Then people come used to it. Remember the Pentium 3 when it released like in 1998? People thought it was this new mysterious technology because it's so much advanced, as a new technology. The Pentium 3 processor was so much more advanced than the Pentium 2 back in the late 90s that they said all these tall tales about it. Don't get a computer with a Pentium 3. But actually, it just changed. It was the first big revolution to bring in like the new phase of gaming and get you ready for the next step. And without it, we wouldn't have had that next step that eventually led to the development of Pentium 4 to count threading and a dual core. Is that first initial step to higher computing? because only was a pretty like the only first time the MMX had technology for the PM2 back in the 1997 was the first processor that could really handle full screen video. Anything before that, you couldn't watch full screen. I remember I had MMX on a old Pentium 2 I used, and I could bring up full screen video when I was like watching YouTube videos or something like that. I was watching some like full screen video, but anything older than that, like a regular PM2, and a crash full screen. I remember that full screen video when the PM2, the MMX is a big technology at the time because you can watch video at full screen, and then they came out with a DVD drive, and with a PM3 you can watch DVDs on your computer. And with this new technology, you can burn CDs and watch DVDs with PM3. The big part was full screen video, like on your multimedia or whatever, or dial up. You can still watch video, but the bit rate quality was so low you can watch it on dial up. Yes, you could watch small videos on dial up back in the 90s over the internet, but the quality rate was so low. You had an option for 22 8K video and 56K, and then 16K modems. You don't watch an audio only. It was an audio only. But the bit rate was so low you can watch on, and they had options for video on 28K modems and 56K, and to set the bit rate and easy to watch it. Like there were certain websites you could pull videos, and you had an option for different dial-up modem speeds, and they had an audio only version for the people with the old 16K modems. Then they had like a high quality, was called a T1 line, and those were like what the schools had. Like you had computers in everyone's school. Like first got on the internet, we had your lab. Was probably using a T1 line. And if your school had a couple computers, it meant the T1 line was real slow in there. Everybody had access to a T1 line in a town because they had different businesses. The government worked on them. So schools had access to T1 no matter practically no matter where you were by the 1990s, because at first in the early 90s I was on a computer, it worked on a local network. This local network within the school. And a tech guy. Then when they first started on computers, the internet, everyone was on dial-up at home. They were on a T1 line to keep those computers where you just click a button and you get online. But only a certain amount of our computers in my school get online. And really you need a password of a teacher or something, or go to the library. And if you're on a computer, you had to have a teacher's username. I started hacking. I did my first sort of hacking like in 6th grade. I figured out how to hack in our students' accounts on the interface. I found out the algorithm, how it bases your last name and your passcode and your username, password was all based on your first and last name. And I figured out that algorithm and was hacking our students' accounts on our local network in 6th grade. So I went out getting other students' accounts on the local network by remembering the username and passcode, and figured out the algorithm the school used to sign your username and password. And I was actually hacking into other people's accounts and using the computer in their name. In 6th grade, I think this is like 1994, 1995. And I was actually seeing different students' usernames. My work actually doing a mathematical equation in my head to figure out the password. The username and password was based on you type in their usernames based on their name, but you figure out the password to find. But everyone was given a preset password according to a certain algorithm I forgot a long time ago. And I was hacking all of these things. And I started figuring out teachers stuff. So I was getting there and wasn't doing stuff like altering grades, but I can use programs or people couldn't. Like if I wanted to access a namesake in middle school, I want to access a program. They assigned you software you can use based on the classes you're taking. So 8th graders were allowed to use simple astronomy software. People are taking certain classes or given that by their network administrator. So if I wanted to use a simple astronomy software, I knew somebody had it. I'd hack in using their username and get the basic astronomy software that they had in the 90s. Or if you had CAD software or something, well, they had basic CAD software, whatever it was, is fun. And it's basic knowledge with the librarian's password username was the basic library computer. Because a lot of people had to look up books or information about the library on computer. I remember back when they still had index cards in the school library. Like you really had to use a deck and get in and use cards and figure out where the book was. And that was like the entire first couple weeks of school when we started like middle school, whatever. When we started school, we had to learn how to use the index card again to the library to locate a book. I forgot how to do that. It's been so many years ago. I forgot how to do that. It'd have an A through Z, and you get in there, and you have to be really careful while putting it back. You got to pull up an index card and look up to where each book was in the library and stuff. Every library had its index card where you can locate each books. And being a librarian was hard back then. You had to know how to put books back according to the index place. I mean, now they're all digital, but back then, I mean, you had to know how to place the index cards that each book gets checked out without using computers. And it was a hectic job being a librarian back in those days. Yeah, that's why librarians were actually more respected than they were now, because you had to take so much of your work was put into actual memorization of the index cards and doing this and that. And that's why your librarians were old boring old ladies that could just do minuscule labor. I had one librarian here, Miss Smith. She was like in upper elementary. It was like a phase point between fourth grade and fifth and sixth grade was in the upper elementary phase. You went into middle school, elementary in this one school district into fourth grade, and you went into upper elementary in fifth and sixth grade, and went into middle school seventh. And it was like an in between where they got you switching classes, whatever. You took one or two classes a day, one class a day with a different teacher. And like in fifth grade, they come to your class. They come into your classroom, and your teacher go to their classroom. And then in sixth grade, we went over to the other classroom to learn social studies, and the other class would go with my teacher to learn a subject, social studies, from her. And that's how they got to use in sixth grade. For the sixth grade phase that we'd stay in our classroom, but the other teacher would come in and teach us. And I like Mr. Lee. He was my favorite history teacher of all time. And when I got along with him, I was the athletic director in eighth grade. He got the big blue book and used it to fall apart. He's like, Josh, I'm going to miss this book. And he had us memorize each state and its capital. First test of the year, first in your semester test was you had to locate each state on the map and name it. I got a name. So that didn't actually tell you. Then you had the final test of the year. You had to identify each state on the map, plus name its capital. It was given a blank piece of paper, each state, and then you had to name write down the capital. No answer key, no A, B, or C. You literally had to name each state and its capital. And it was like, oh, you had to really study those stuff about then. So I was a true teacher, the one that would actually not use the standardized testing, but would make out their own tests and go down the copy machine, copy their own tests. That was a true teacher. And one had a structured grading period. So grading covers up 90% to 100% A, 95 to 100% was an A, and you at least need 65% to pass. I actually excelled in those classes. I think in a more disciplined environment, I actually did better. So I think maybe in a military school, if I want to go to military school, I knew I'd succeed. And the guy from Marine Corps I called, he said, look, we're looking for problem kids. Where do you want to go? I said, I'll tell you the truth. I'm unorganized. And I actually found out with strict teachers, organized environments, strict environments, I succeed. And with strictness and regimen of a military school, I know I'm going to say, if he's a kid, I never thought you'd take it. You never look at it that way. Your first kid realizes he needs discipline and structure and let's see. I see yes, sir, because I know that Without discipline and structure in my life, I won't succeed. But I never felt there he didn't get documentation and get me in. And there was some type of voucher poor families could get to get their kid in. And I was going to go to military school up somewhere up here in my state and go to military school starting 7th grade. So I wanted to learn that structure. I want to have that structure. I would have been a much more cleaner, organized person. I didn't want to go in the military, but I wanted military school to make me successful at business, to get me organized, so everybody know what to do on it. And plus, they didn't like the idea I was on medication because it ruins your cognitive skills and all that. And we agreed and just not follow through. And because medications you were on were much harsher back then. He said, "Son, it's gonna be hard for you to succeed because we had doctors here and I checked with the school. They have a school psychiatrist and therapist. They deal with kids' problems. He's like, with medication like Haldol and stuff you're on, it's gonna be hard for you to function with our advanced regimen, and I recommend you not come." That's the only medicine they had. Haldol. That's why my leg always moves all the time because it causes sarcopenia. I've had it for years from Haldol. That's what they had to treat back in the 90s for my bipolar schizoaffective. You put on a combination. That's why I do it all the time because my body moves because of the Haldol I was on for years. That's the basic drug they had for everybody back then. Every kid had some sort of schizophrenia, bipolar schizoaffective put on Haldol, but it's about all of us were on Haldol had this. Then they phased out and came out newer drugs. Cyproxil was a little bit better, but it had problems. Weight gain, everything. I dealt with that for 10 years. Then Invega, which I've been on since 2008, but I've been nonstop. It was a miracle drug. They put that in me in early 2008. I've been on, probably been nonstop since I've been on it. Except for a short term, my family doctor took me off because he didn't like anti-cybertruck. He's the only country doctor, and I got away from him. And I told my psychiatrist I want to try a lower dose, and I feel better. I don't feel as drug. And my psychiatrist said, "Well, about 3 milligrams, I'll take that." But I said I think clear without. I don't think I need a. I really don't see hallucinations. In love, it's just a big imagination. I think I have some psychosis sometimes, but I explained to my doctor, Dr. Ma, that look, heavy doses of I feel freer. I had heavier doses of antipsychotics getting away. He said, "Look, you're really needing them about 3 milligrams, so 9." I've been doing wonderful on 3 milligrams because it really gets away your cognitive abilities. One upside, you're not crazy, but the downside is it affects your cognitive abilities. It is antipsychotics. Will affect your cognitive abilities. My dad's off work. I'm going to call him, see if he's what time he's coming. Yeah, Dad called at midnight last night. No, he called. I know one time he called. No. Oh yeah, Dad called. This call. Dad, well, yesterday, Dad called at 10:35 p.m. That's right. How was work last night? I've been having Mitch save my receipts for my credit, my mail, I use them. I'll give my credit card, go out and get something I need. I have them put the receipts on the counter for you. So every time I send them somewhere and I use one of my cars, I'll give them to say the receipts for you and it tells you what card I use and everything. I tell them don't give me the receipts, just put them on the counter for my dad. Like when I send them to get a pack of cigarettes or a Red Bull, sometimes I'll use one of my credit cards, and so I'll have them put the receipt on the counter for you. It's once in a while. I don't do it that often. The only thing I bought that I don't have a receipt for or have documentation for is I use it for my one shark card off of and I use my grandparents' money to get that year's worth of I use cash for that AI app, but the only thing I spent, I can't. That really is hard to document. Is why, but I spent $3 for a shark card on GTA Online, and a shark card just gives you in-game money because I need to keep some money in my in-game account, otherwise your businesses would crash in there. And I try keeping this, but I grind mostly, which is means you do in-game activities to earn money. But I try keeping at least a couple hundred grand because like each day it bills you. It actually bills you. You know, pay your staff, pay your utility bills in the game for your luxury. Your I own like a lot of properties. I use the game to live the life I always wanted to live. And so buying shark cards now, I actually grind, and that takes up. I tried doing 3 playing sessions. They were all spent an hour and a half playing, and I've been averaging pretty good to keeping up with the game. And it helps me live a life I always wanted to live but couldn't. I use it. A lot of people use it to play. I don't view it a lot in video game. I look at it as a simulator. I want a nice car, to live in a nice house, and it gives a version of Los Angeles that doesn't exist. Then the game, Los Angeles is called Los Santos. New York City is called Liberty City, and you don't have the homeless encampments in the Los Angeles in that game, which I like. And so I haven't been telling you, but I've been talking to someone once in a while from the Los Angeles County School Board, and they actually thought I was a teacher. So I was so clear minded and have objectives because I said, look, the reason I focus on your state and your city is that's where our country's going in 15 to 20 years. I told her I keep track of California more, even my home state, because that's where my state and the rest of the country go in 20 years. I've been getting them ideas to get kids out of gangs. Like, tell them, well, one, you need to work with the LAPD and the sheriff's department to keep them all on our neutral place or not monitored, where they can meet together and work with different youth groups in the city. You know, kind of goes against your morals. You know, the kids, they have a positive role model like a youth pastor look up to. They give them something other than the gangs, and really reflected on how things like, the gender identity ought to be taught in a separate classroom, be optional. Kid has a choice about learning about the reproductive. A parent has a to sign a petition slip. You can have less retaliation from parents. And it's all about basically things about education. And she honestly thought I had a teaching degree or was an educator or child psychiatrist. She said, are you a child psychiatrist, teenage adolescent psychiatrist, or are you a teacher? She thought I was had that much education when I was talking to her. She says, if you were here, we would hire you if you had the education. I said, no, ma'am, I go to West Virginia. There's a lot of jobs no one wants. Those kids need a good mind. If I had that degree, I wouldn't come out there. I go places where no one wants to go, is like the small schools or the alternative schools to turn those kids' lives around. I told her I wouldn't take the job, and I pay a job. I take a pay cut because when I get that degree, it's to change lives, not make money. So anyway, when are you coming over to with those groceries? Oh, I need was I trying to think about on the list? Oh, okay. You go tomorrow. I have enough to last till Saturday. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, need receipts for the credit cards. Send to York to pay the credit card bill. Right. I'm talking about the ones when Mitch goes and gets the like Red Bull or something. No, my credit card. Sometimes I'll give them those, and once in a blue moon, not too often. Not all the time, just part of the time. Like once, twice a week, I'll give them a couple bags. I'll get a couple bags of Marlboro and a Red Bull for a treat or something. That rare treat. They're so expensive. I use them as a rare treat. Okay. Love you. See you in gear. I unpacked those Midland meals last night. Yeah, I got. Yeah, but all of them just fit, and I'll let you select some things and ask maybe you take whatever you want, and I'll give you something to eat at work, so you don't have to spend a lot of money at work. You should eat better than that. You can't still in the middle of meals. I want you to eat better. Hey, Dad, you're my. You take care of me. I take care of you. We take care of each other, Dad. You know, I'm here for you. If you need help, if I can afford, I'll help you. Hey, that's what Grandma and Grandpa taught me. When you're that's basic idea. When your parents' age and you can afford it, you help them when they need it. That's what everybody should do. When their parents are older, they need help financially. That you help them, then they help you. And by golly, you raised me my whole life, and as you age, you're gonna need more and more financial help. Why do you think I'm working on certain ventures? Make mine one is help you as you age and your and your savings goes down and you have much of an income. Okay, love you. Bye. Call my dad. Greet him to work. You bring some groceries over. Let me rest while my 7:35. My home health care. I'll be here soon. Some nights I have decent dreams. Some nights are kind of upsetting. Like I had a dream that somehow there was a case of a kid being abused in a inappropriate way, and people were trying to intervene, and somehow CPS was involved, and you're kind of watching it as a movie, right? And he started developing habits that were reflecting his abuse. And this is very upsetting. Like some dreams I see, like scenes of disturbing events unfold, and that I do and to prevent it. And that's how some of the dreams play out, and they're really disturbing. I kind of wake up and feel disorientated. You know, it just kind of. So that's why I'm scared about streaming my sleeping because I have flashbacks or stuff. I'll wake up screaming obscenities. And that's one thing. I'm kind of scared to stream because all his dreams are so disturbing that I wake up screaming obscenities, and some are pretty bad obscenities that Twitch wouldn't or YouTube or it wouldn't like me yelling. So that's why I'm really scared about airing my sleep streams. But if I wake up and me look at the screen, I know it's airing and it calms me down. That's why I always keep a couple rolled cigarettes and sleep and something to calm me down. So I immediately can grab a cigarette, keep a coffee pot open. That's something to bring me down and calms me down. Sometimes I'll stay upset, and if I have a cigarette roll, I can only grab a cigarette. That's why I always try keeping a pack of Marlboro. They may be getting more expensive, but that brings me down quicker. That's like my nerve hitter. I mean, those will calm me down. That they're getting expensive, but it's worth when they're going up to $9 a pack because the company keeps raising the price to hit on one to calm down. Well, I'm getting used to these homemade ones, and they're smoother. Marble makes me cough all the time. I don't know if I come affiliate with you guys. If you guys donate like those little gyms or whatever, and I get my checking month, we'll do a little celebration. I get paid each month from Twitch. I think they pay by a PayPal. I'll do something to celebrate each month. Then we'll do little things throughout the month, like maybe unboxings or something. Or maybe we'll pay one of these fancy e-girls money to like do a cameo with us. How's that? Like if I do split the screen, we'll pay her a couple $100 to do a cameo and actually acknowledge people in here. Whatever you like. You know, like maybe there's a famous, semi-famous girl on Twitch. We'll pay them a couple $100 to do a 10-minute cameo. We come on and do like a dual screen and we interview them on here somehow through. We can set up a Skype conversation, and we'll talk to them via Skype and pay them a couple $100 for a 10-20-minute interview. So I say, you guys, all of you guys that watch us have a certain Twitch streamer I can afford a 10-minute interview with for $100. We'll do that. We'll do a cameo with one or something. You'll have the girl you want to answer your questions about her life, whatever, or something, have her acknowledge you. We'll just bring her up on the screen. We'll air her on Drew's setup where we can bring her on, and we'll do like a 10-20-minute stream with her. And I'll pay her a couple $100 to just do a 10-20-minute interview. Talk about life and just, basic things and stuff. And just get you guys, watch you maybe have a famous girl and you like, and just get her to answer your questions and we acknowledge you for a change. Or a guy, maybe some of you guys have fame, maybe a male gamer you want to go talk to or something interview. Also, an email or Damon Fizzy or famous YouTuber we do a 10-20-minute conversation with. I'll figure out how to bring it up on the screen and stuff. Or pre-record it and air it. Stream the recorded one. We'll pre-record and have questions, and I'll interview them. We'll wear it. I'll stream the interview. Like I'll stream. We'll give them permission to record that Skype call. We'll call them on. We'll talk to them on Skype or some type of app and some type of thing. We'll air it. I'll record it and we'll play it. I'll play a 10-20-minute interview. Maybe get them to open up about their real life. Like maybe just what's like being a famous girl on here. Some people get known personally, so I criticize them. Deep down, they all have they're not really out of touch. They have a plan. Even that one girl that did the real controversial remarks. She was trolling for fame. She tried making it on Dr. Phil and all that. Her dad was in on the ad because she saw the Meet Me Outside girl and she wanted to be just like her, a very controversial person. And I think she knew she wouldn't last and she wouldn't be as controversial as possible. No one could be that blink-minded and really live a life. I think she was a troll. She was the best troll in history. You can tell she was trolling. The way that voice, you tell she was faking the dumb-witted voice and the whole idea, the way she would insult people in her own kind of just the troll. She was the best troll in history. You can tell she was one of the best trolls in history. She wasn't serious. All these people were making videos like she was really that bad off when I know she was just trolling everybody on social media. She was trolling the concept of how the world, I think she had a concept. She's very intelligent and she probably worked for her job and stuff, and she wanted just to do something to show how certain things could be and how far she could take it. She had her 9 to 5 job, and she just wanted to get her dad in on the act, or get somebody in on the act just to really do something to troll everybody. And she got paid so much from Dr. Phil and a set of people just to troll everybody. It's probably a well organized trolling event. That's my opinion on that one girl that was like the real racist and spoke out against her own kind and said it was, and had like a money raising for a pink Lamborghini. Had to be a big trolling event. That's what I look at. Is just her trolling everybody. She's probably nothing like that in real life. She's like, oh, I'll just gonna troll for a while and see how long I get away with it. Because no one can go on there and make music as hers and do that without, no one's that way. I mean, there's no possible way she'd be that way and function. And her apartment looks so clean and stuff. And no one just would really sit there if they valued their social media and criticize people like that and be that blatantly bad off once they're on a contract, somebody to troll. She had a big contract for a trolling group. Or she was out to troll. I mean, what kind of person would be like that unless they're paid to do some type of trolling event? Maybe she had a contract Dr. Phil to be a big troll you can interview or something. And the dad was in on the ad. A lot of these people, they find out on Dr. Phil, he's doing what Jerry Springer does because he's running out content. So sometimes they'll have actors on just to play out outlandish people. I think he can really keep his content. Some of his content's real and some of it's outlandish. So he keep up and get different viewers in. So maybe she get like some $1 million contract to him to troll and be on his show, and had a dad in on the ad. The family got paid to do it. And the cybersecurity dad, was able to help her remain anonymous so no one could dox her. Because really she's never been doxxed, because her dad was the person that dad was good at cybersecurity. So the network and everything to cybersecurity, you could tell it was all scripted and set up probably for the Dr. Phil show or whatever. And they used totally different names and everybody. Even the information they found on the guy was totally false. It was set up so the information they found was actually fake and all of that. And yeah, even people did call in. It was all fake because it's a group trolling. And there's groups that do that. Groups do that, just go online and troll. Like they'll pay a really good actress and sub actors to troll. Who knows if she had a contract YouTube, Twitch on to just be this troll for Dr. Phil's show, and boom, just drop out of existence. She's probably just a small, struggling actress that got enough money to survive, and she played a troll. She's just a struggling actress, and yeah, you do this, you have the look, and you do the voice naturally, and we're going to pay so much to troll. But I think Dr. Phil's behind the whole series of the persona, and she was an actress hired, paid a lot of money. Because that job got so much coverage and stuff, and him so much money, and there was so much money transactions going on that, yeah, she was paid to troll. I guess it's based on the philosophy of how social media is affecting youth. It's kind of like a trolling campaign to show the negative impacts and outlandish, exaggerated view of how the negative impacts of social media are, or some of the negative impacts are. I think as a way of some type of group probably hired her or something. And maybe Dr. Phil's doing a special covert type thing on how social media it can really affect people using an exaggerated character. And maybe there's a lot of parental groups and all that in charge of it, and paid an starting actress a lot of money to do it. And it's all pre-set up with Twitch, YouTube, and all that. Do it to as a whatever type of campaign. They got to do so many things to keep a PR, as like a PR on how social media has a negative impact by making it entertaining and giving social media content creators something to cover when really it's just a PR by Twitch, YouTube, and Dr. Phil about, and as an exaggerated person, use to show what negative impacts are of social media and stuff like this, if not done under certain circumstances and certain types of ways of disciplining yourself, keeping yourself focused on certain things. Like I try to be myself, don't try doing what you're not, and keeping your life as usual. I learned from those to keep myself as I am. Do a reality show, be myself, and that's how I found out. People that show what they're not, they're just everyday people that they make it big for a while, but then you if you pretend what you're not on social media like this platform like Twitch or YouTube, and not yourself, and enjoy what you're doing, you're gonna be miserable. I think that's where a lot of them fall miserable, because they had to put on this persona. They had to put on this thing and they get online. Just do my usual Beetlejuice, show my real life reality show I slid last night some. Are you subscribed to my YouTube? You kind of talk like somebody with a personality, someone I know from YouTube. All right, do you have a username on YouTube, or are you someone that subscribes to me on YouTube or TikTok? You kind of talk like someone I know, but maybe using a different username on here. I might know you from somewhere like YouTube or TikTok, and you're just using this different screen name on here. I have a lot of fans that come on here in different screen names, and I don't know. Sometimes I don't know who people are, because I may know them and not know it from a different app. Or I'm streaming right now on YouTube. I found a way to stream on YouTube by using the YouTube software, so OBS. I can play my Grand Theft Auto before I'm using OBS. I found out why I can't stream Grand Theft Auto. I'm running Grand Theft Auto Online at max settings, right? And that's even harder on a Nomen. I had the max settings where the graphics card and everything is in yellow and thing. And to order to encode that much stuff on OBS takes a lot of power, computing power, and there's ain't enough left after running that high of settings where my graphics card and settings for my computer is in yellow on the measurements, and that's why I can't stream it, because ain't my internet kid. I got figured thinking last night or this morning was I was talking through, and I think it's just because I have it set maxed out settings. That's why my graphics so good. You watch my American Hickle Moore, I actually did a video where I showed just something basic on there, and you'll see how high settings I have it on 1080p. Plus, I ran through 2 different video editors to kind of give it a better view and get better and better video quality. And I'm going to do that is screen capture it and put it on YouTube, where then I have it in a better video resolution. First, I run it through. So I run it through 2 basic editors. One put 19, whatever 19, whatever then might set through Sony Vegas 13 to get on internet settings and 24p HD, and it's a real good setting. It takes forever, a lot of power, computer power, scene power, but it's a real good resolution video, so I'll capture some and put on my American Hickle Moore YouTube. Once in a while, I'll put my gameplay of me just doing some basic run-throughs of, and I won the app speed test, like I was doing some runs or something, and I won my nightclub and challenge to get fastest speed, and I won. So I go down screen capturing it, and I won. Like everyone else got the nearest contender got 111 mile an hour, and I got that car that what was that car, or the Growler? That's like the copy of the Porsche 911 up to 117 miles an hour and won. I was like on my way to the warehouse, not warehouse, but the nightclub, and I was coming from my bunker, And I decided to take a detour to the interstate where I can open up. And I just sat there in the tunnel, so no grief for getting me a Mark II. And I just sat there, right, and waited for the countdown. Just sat there for a minute left to start smoking the tires. And I managed to get to 117 mile an hour and win the contest. And won, like, I forget how much money, but just won that contest. High speed. And I won another contest of, I forget what it was. I jumped from your highest altitude and fall to the most distance and open your shoe. And last night, what I did was I got my helicopter. My helicopter's 8,000, right on just under 8,500 feet or something. It's right under 9,000 feet. It's almost right under 9,000 feet and jumped and parachuted. And that was fun. Like, way above, it was raining, so you couldn't even really tell you were breaking through the clouds. The next thing I know, I'm breaking through the clouds. So, like, this thing's just so high. And I'm breaking through the cloud cover on real low ground. Like, oh, shoot, I got my parachute. And just open my parachute just in time because it's raining out in the game. And it was real low cloud layer. And I broke through the cloud layer for eyes. I was real low to the ground. And immediately had to open my parachute and open it just in time to do a safe landing. But I like to see one people. There's a way on the original Aggressor 1. There's a glitch like you can jump and ramp on a certain property in the game where you can literally go to the edge of space. Someone showed a YouTube video of a glitch where there's a place in Los Santos you can ramp and you just go straight up and hit that rock gun and do a Pressure Mark 1 and go to the edge of space. It's the only way. But I would like to go to edge of space into one of my vehicles or go max altitude on my Learjet and parachute. I have a Learjet I bought on sale. It's like one of the, it was originally like a couple millions on sale for $600,000. And I bought it a long time ago, but I never used it. And of course, when if you have bought something and got a free, for some reason you get a free, regular one, a free, Cuban. I forget what you get it for. Like when you buy one of your properties or something, you get a free Cuban. And, I never use it. And then I get, the other one is a stunt plane. I never use them. I always crash them. I always use the helicopters, not those planes. I have a boat I never used. But I use it just in case. I buy certain things I never use, just in case it comes in handy someday. There's like things like a boat, and I keep the simplest button. I were on a YouTube video last night. Keeping passive businesses is what's good. It keeps them left for like the nightclub. As you guys force income, just go out and promote it. Once in a while, get DJ, and it's pretty much a small income. Like I collected 39 grand from the nightclub and fully completed a gun running mission last night, and that was like 100 grand. Like I got in less than an hour. From hey baby, come here. You want attention? My cat's coming. Want attention? My cat wants attention. Hey baby. Well, my I'll take care of her remaining minute. Yeah, she's a cutie. She just wants attention. Baby, yeah. Cat's coming for attention. She's so loyal. There you go. Point to there so you don't bump into the keyboard. You don't do it all. You don't lay next to me. Cuddle. She wants to cuddle for a while. No, this is my TV show. This is a reality TV show. Twitch, YouTube. I run my streams are a reality TV show. I like real life reality TV show without lowering anyone's. I figure all these movie stars do it and it lowers people's self esteem. I'm kind of living showing an average life. Yeah. I figure the rest of these people run these things kind of lower people's self esteem. I want to just be a basic person, be myself, show my everyday life, ups and downs, show people that even people are somewhat successful on social media have their up and downs. Don't live a life that makes others, feel like their self esteem or they can't live up to a Jake or Logan Paul or whoever. I believe that stuff even to myself so more your self esteem because if you're younger. Or to take or to hey Mitch. Very good. But yeah, get more yourself. My healthcare workers here. While were you late? I was curious. Was holding you up yesterday morning?
Oh, my stepdaughter.
Again, I knew it.
Yeah, she don't do not tell her mom. That's what I said. I'm like, you should do this. She's gonna be 15 July. Her birthday July 4th. They cracked me or whatever. July 4th. But next year when she turns 16, I'm like, she hates going to school. I'm like, just take her out of school, whatever, man, and just let her be a quitter, and then she'll learn the hard way.
Hey, I self-educate. She, with these new technologies, like,
yeah.
I mean, she's pretty. She'd be like an e-girl on Twitch and make money. She has a personality that some guys will go for, just talking and doing stuff like playing video games. I'm on Twitch right now, and she actually makes money. She's good looking, gives a personality. Guys will give her.
She isn't that pretty or whatever. Crap. I mean, her boyfriend is going to talk about going to school, quit school because he's going to quit school. He's like 2 years older than she is.
So, trust me, though, there's something. There's an audience for everybody on social media.
I believe you. Whatever.
And she made money. I mean, there's audience for everybody. She'd be a girl sits there not that good looking, but play video games and make money. And she's on the heavy side. There's guys on the heavy side. They see a fat girl doing mukbangs. Tell her when you're calling and say, look, you like to eat, girl. You like to be big and you like your food. Do mukbangs, you're going to take off. Tell her to do that.
Well, she just don't do anything. She just wants to lay around.
And eat. Yeah, she does videotape herself and guys will give to her.
She just wants to lay around and sleep all day, she said.
Sleep streams make money.
She can. Dude, she can do something she wants. She just don't want to put no effort into it. I told her, Mom, I don't know what to tell you. If I get in trouble because of your kids and my stepdaughter, if she gets me in trouble because, like, I guess her boyfriend, he'll get his license and he'll be able to drive his car just sometime this year or whatever on a whim by himself.
Yeah.
If they get called open containers and everything, you better put her in juvie because she has to learn, like, you can't always bail her out all the time and there's consequences for stuff she does that's illegal.
I think juvie's a bad case because there's a lot of abuse happening in those places.
I know there could be, but
I think really there's a lot of good intervention type of things that she'd be good for her.
She needs to do something because she has to realize because she got caught. Her and her friend got caught. Her friend had one of those vape pens and it was using it and everything, and she got caught using it. I'm like,
that's nothing. I smoked all this.
It's nothing. But the school don't take it as nothing, and like we can get fined and everything for up to $1,000, whatever.
Jeez, when I was a kid, the worst he got was like suspended and 0 tolerance or detention or whatever.
The school will do this. If they think we're not being parents, they will have the right to put in juvie things that we're not being parents, or whatever. Like we're being.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
They'll put in juvie themselves, and that's when we'll get that $1,000 fine or whatever.
The schools are giving too much power.
I know it is, and that's why I didn't think for sure. I was like, "Man, just tell her." I'm like, I don't want to go juvie because I was afraid of she's gonna get in trouble at school again. I'm like, if she has to get her GED, just let her do that. But I'm like,
she wants to smoke and vape.
Yeah,
just take her out.
I don't even care if you do that stuff. You're not really old enough to be doing that stuff anyway. But I'm like,
let her do it and just tell. You know what? If the school ever pulled something like kid like that, you better bet. I'll get the biggest, baddest guys from the bar to meet the school principal in a parking lot somewhere. He wouldn't learn his lesson. I would take care of it the Alabama style.
Yeah.
You pay a couple of the town good old boys and give them in a parking lot somewhere.
I know. Well, I would like to do that too. That I want to be associated with. Say, well, they'll say his stepdad like had people.
Yeah, they know you're from Alabama. That's what we do in the South.
Yeah.
You have somebody in the school that's being a jerk to your kids. They're walking somewhere. They get jumped.
Yeah.
You said you can't take care of it. By golly, old Bobby and old Cletus and Joe Bob from the local tavern do it for $100.
They would do it, yeah.
Well, some of them have. I'd always joke around sheriff. You couldn't do it up here, but when the sheriff's deputy's in town, I knew about a friend that was kind of beating up on me. I said, Sean, how much it would take if I bet you this is Russia, and I have this roommate that this guy keeps on beating me up, harassing me for a pack of cigarettes and a pint of vodka, you would make him disappear, and he just laughed.
Yeah.
I said, Sean, let's just say we're in Russia. I'm not trying to bribe you. But if I went out and buy you a pack of Marlboro here at the Sandy store and give you $5, get a pint of vodka, could you make such and such show up, take them outside town, arrest them on charge, say they set them being on drugs, arrest them, take them out in the country, rough them up, and leave them for a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of vodka? How's that sound, Sean? He just laughed, the old country cop. I said, what about it? Pack of cigarettes and small bottle of vodka or 6-pack of beer. Can you just detain them, take them out in the country, and rough them up for me a bit? And he just laughed.
It's hard to do this stuff inside their apartment, whatever you do inside of your room, stuff. Don't take it outside.
Yeah, I know. That's the kids gotta learn that. It ain't like an open site like we grew up
I
in.
don't care if you do that stuff. I don't even care if you smoke weed, or I could care less. You just don't take stuff with you to school, whatever, where they'll want to check your backpack. Because Eric checks one of her friends' backpacks and she's in trouble. So I don't know.
I know why schools are just too much, man.
I know. I wish she could just do e-learning or something, like on the computer, like she does when they don't have school or bad weather, something like that happens, or like that.
Oh, it's my home health aide.
Do that, and she might do good or whatever. So, and
just give her time to grow up. Kids are rebellious.
Yeah, I'm all for her being. I don't care if she's rebellious or not. I'm saying I'm all for that. I'm like, I just hope she does better. I mean, I think she will, but I'm like, I can't.
Yeah, well, different kids develop differently. I wouldn't worry about it. Kids different. Kids develop. They go through that phase. I wouldn't worry. She's not doing major stuff. Yeah. She's doing stuff we did, but they have different set of rules now.
Yeah, I don't care. Does stuff, whatever. Be rebellious. That's cool, man. Be yourself, whatever. At school, whatever. And do what,
we did that stuff, but they didn't care back then. We were just as bad as her.
Care back then, no. But yeah, it's too much.
She'll grow up to be a basic wife, kid, probably have kids, everything. She's just going through a phase. All teenagers go through that phase. She's going to grow up to be a wonderful woman. I wouldn't give it two thoughts.
She could be. Yeah, I hope she does.
All the girls I knew back in school that were that way, or I can look them up on Facebook right now, pull them up, and they're a wonderful bear mom that protect their kids, wonderful mothers. They may have a few baby daddies, but still, they're wonderful mothers. They're good mothers. I've contacted a few out of all those years, and all of them turned out to be wonderful mothers of their kids. So I wouldn't put you sound thoughts. All the girls I knew grew up like that. Are fine parents. All the young men I grew up with like that grew up to be fine, hardworking men. I wouldn't give it 2 second thoughts.
Yeah, I hope that happens because her mom kind of works for her as a hard worker, but she kind of let her kids do whatever when she had them and everything, and all three of them kind of was like, and now they put themselves. Her oldest son and oldest daughter, they did what her mom did. They put themselves in a bad situation, and now they're like, they can't. They're stuck. That's what he told Wade. I mean, well, we ain't heard nothing from her oldest daughter yet, but we think the same thing happened. Her oldest son, he got with somebody that treats him like his youngest sister's dad did him, treat him all the time, all the time. And we can't let you want to have unprotected sex with her, and you said you was on drugs and everything or whatever. So I'm like, you should have stood back for a second instead of being on drugs and having.
Yeah, I said that's all I know about personal matters.
He's in a bad situation, and he ain't gonna be able to do nothing about it because he wants to be there for his kid. And I'm sure his wife is threatening to take his kid away from him. Something like that. I go, dude, she can't take your kid away from you, dude. If you're working and she says that stuff, just go to the court, man, and put yourself on child support, and you'll get visitation no matter what, dude. And like I said, but I don't think he wants that.
I totally understand. I understand.
I hope he does better, but I'm like,
yeah.
It's crazy stuff, man. I just can't.
I know you need a place kind of unloaded for a busy week at home.
Oh, I know. And I can't tell those kids what to do. You guys are grown adults, whatever. You guys got to make your own choice.
Yeah, I know. I understand. Oh, that's my healthcare work. I let him just talk about his life, kind of a place to, just let off about his life. Okay. As my home health care guy, he's a basic. Yeah, home health care comes in and we just carry on our conversation every morning, catch up on what's going on. That's my home health care Beetlejuice. He comes every morning at 8. That's why I'm glad I never had kids, because if the government got involved with my kids being natural teenagers, I would flip. Guys, I would flip. I mean, kids naturally rebel, and trust me, I'd flip if the government tried to tell me that my kids couldn't rebel or do silly things and treat them like criminals for doing natural things kids do. I tell you what, I'd flip. I guess that's why I get better along better in the South. Everyone knows everybody. I guess that's why. And trust me, principals don't walk the line down there. He just hired Jim, Bob, and Cletus to take care of the principal's problem. He'd be acting better by Monday morning, show a few bruises, in a better mood about your kid. You're in Yankeeville, in the Yankee area, you can't do that, That's why I get along with Southern people a lot better. We have a different philosophy. I handle problems. Up north, I believe there is too. That's why I don't socialize up here, because people are just too nosy up here. Yeah, but that's my home health care. Beetlejuice. Are you done talking on the phone?
Yeah, I'm done.
I think my urinal's emptied. And my dad's getting the groceries, then I'll have him cook the bacon or something he brings off. When he drops it off, he's going to drop off some groceries. And I'll probably have you, for tonight's dinner, so I don't have to get up that much. I'll probably have you cut some cheese and put in a Ziploc bag, keep it in my mini fridge in here, so I don't have to get up and do it.
Yeah. Your dad brought your stuff yesterday to you?
No, he had a lot of stuff to take care of. He's on his way right now.
Okay, cool.
He's gonna stop at home, get changed, and go.
That's good.
And the nurse came. Yes, I was half tired, and I middle of the meals arrived. Did you find that FedEx box and bring it here?
I did. Yeah, I put it in there.
Yeah, I found it. I got my new headset for my gaming. Yeah, I put them in the freezer. I managed to fit them in. It took a while to build up strength, but last night late I got up and had enough energy to do it. I'm gonna give a lot of those meals to my dad. The last box went lay across the hall because I know she has problems, and is meals the company selected because we've got to order them, and there's some meals in there I know I don't like, so I'm gonna give them my dad because he buys meals at work. I'm saying, well, they're too expensive. I'll just give you a few frozen meals to take to work. Because he's been buying them at work and they're expensive there. You know, hotel, the little markets, the grocery at Marriott's are. Like Red Bull's like almost $5 for a 8.4 ounce. They're like $3 or $4. I forget how much it was. I stopped there and got one. Because we weren't allowed to stay at the Marriott in Florida, but like we had stricter rules, like because we were gonna go. We were watching that tropical storm. I forget which ones. It's in my. I did a video of it moving in on TikTok. On my first TikTok, I saw it's still open, but I forget to count the name or how to log in because I didn't keep it long. Because I kept my first TikTok, I got 5,000 followers, and then of course it's easy to get zapped from TikTok. But the first one, I just made a video of that one tropical storm moving into Florida, like the Outer Banks of it. I filmed videos of that tropical storm moving in, and there's like 20 miles north of us. They had hurricane warning. Like an hour north of us is a full-fledged Category 1 hurricane. And Dad was watching it in case we had to leave because we got a hurricane force winds. And if we evacuate, I said, well, let's head towards Atlanta or something. He says, no, it's north of us. He's keeping track of it. And we're going to find a hotel room south of us, like in Miami or something. So if that turned into got stronger offshore and became a Category 2 or 3 hurricane, we wouldn't head north like everyone else. We'd head south towards Miami or something. That thing was tracking to the northeast, so we were going to go south like to Miami or southern Florida to avoid it because it's tracking northwest. So we're watching the tracking of a tropical storm that could possibly become like a Category 1 or 2 hurricane, and we're going to go south if it became major. We're going to go south and avoid it. Because it's right after my thing is like my brother's still alive because he woke up. We were under hurricane watch one morning. We woke up one morning. We were under hurricane watch when it was coming in. It was still about 100, 200 miles, 300 miles. I was like 400 miles out in Bahamas, right? And we woke up the hurricane watch like a couple of days before it moved in. Then it reduced it, and by the time it reached us, we got a tropical storm warning. But just like 50 miles north of us, they're under a hurricane warning. But we're like under hurricane watch for 1 or 2 days down there. That's the first time I lived in an area where I was under a hurricane watch. Yeah. It's different living under a hurricane watch. And like, I wasn't sure how it was. I asked the lady that delivered for Amazon how bad it's supposed to get. And she said, you're not from around here, are you? I said, no. And like, people see me wearing shorts and t-shirt in 50-degree weather. And they're all bundled up in their sweatshirts and in sweats, jogging. And they're, how can you wear a shorts and t-shirt in 50-degree weather? It's cold out here. I said, well, it's December, this January. This temperature is warm for me. It's warm. It's like 20 degrees. They said, that lady, this black lady, I really like. She was beautiful. I mean, she was wonderful looking, right? And I guess she already had a kid. I guess the father down her body. Like, I'm going to raise this kid. And he's going to be the first CEO. I'm going to raise him so well. He's going to become the first tycoon of Silicon Valley. I'm going to put him through education. The first African American to sell and become like Elon Musk. And I was like, I'm going to give him the best possible life. She's beautiful. She'd be a good wife. I was like flirting with her every day and stuff. And I was like, well, if he's going to be my stepkid, I'm going to adopt him. He's going to be the first African American Silicon Valley technology person. I'm going to get him interested in be the first night all. And she was beautiful. Anyway, she's jogging and she's like, what are you doing? And she does like, she I grew up in Florida. I mean, I'm not used to this cold weather. I'm like, it's January. It's perfect for me. I said today would be I'll be considered a warm day for me where I'm from. In fact, this would be unusually warm this time of year where I'm from. Like I remember one day it got like 70 degrees here in Indiana. We had tornadoes. Like we had the first F4 tornado since like the Sunday 4 outbreak. And actually the remnants of it was the beginning of it was headed over just north of town. And yeah, I thought it was from a bad storm. It was a tornado forming. And it's like a half mile wide. It's the biggest one ever recorded since the 74 outbreak. They had a lot of F5s in the area in the 74 outbreak, but this one was the first one recorded since then. And is in 2012, like on March 2012, in Southern Indiana. It's like in the next state, there's snow on the ground. It's like almost 80 degrees one day, and it's already March when it started being 80 degrees. And my stepdad, when he's alive, then I left the house because I was having problems with my roommates, and he said when this breaks, this ain't gonna last long. It is all hell's gonna break loose. And he's right. He was an old wise old man. And he knew the weather, and he said when we get 70, 80 degree March, all hell's gonna break loose when it returns to normal. And he was right. He knew the weather by the signs. He said if it gets this warm this time of year, because he remembered that Sunday 4 outbreak, and he said that Sunday 4 outbreak was just like this: hot, humid, February into March, and February, and all hell broke. And he said this time of year gets hot and humid, all hell broke loose. He remembered the Sunday 4 outbreak. And if you weren't, neither of us were alive, but they said it was so hot and humid for April, right before that, people like knew something bad was coming. You had an eerie feeling in the air or atmosphere, like something bad was about to happen. Everybody, reason so many people survived was the old timers were like knew something bad was gonna happen because it's so warm and oppressive humidity that day or that couple days before that they knew something bad was gonna happen. And younger people who didn't pay attention, like the city people, when the tornado hit Xenia, Ohio, people didn't thought the tornado sirens go off, but they didn't have radars or anything. They were still using the old. See, when they had the National Weather Bureau and so National Weather Service, they're still using radars from World War II. They knew they had to map storms, but they're using the old radars we used during World War II back in the 70s, and they could detect a storm, not much else. And sirens went off because they could detect it through patterns, and they used those old tape things to bring tornado warnings across. And they had made phone call by landlines down to, like when it hit Alabama, they're making so many tornado warnings coming out by the time it's hitting out. It's the deep south, like Tennessee and Alabama, Georgia. So many tornadoes. And this is the famous guy, he's still well known, security. Michael Forbes was just starting his career about that. He was like a brand new meteorologist. He's a famous guy on Weather Channel. He was literally telling his assistants, look, we're having so many of these tornadoes hit that our tape, it came out like on a piece of tape. Like, cash registers used to print out pieces of tape and stuff. The tornado warnings, as the National Weather Bureau would issue them, each area they would print out on tape when they detect one, and they'd have to read it they had to call up different. Then the main office would get it and it'd print out, and then they had to distribute all the TV outlets, and there were so many coming out that night that the tape machines were breaking down. And Forbes, the guy ended up becoming that's still famous, was on the Weather Channel. He's about already retirement age. He was just brand new on the job, just got the job, just out of college. Said a lot of people are going to die tonight. Our machines are breaking down because he had to print it out manually on these old machines and call and make little phone calls. And landlines were already down in the south from previous storms, and they couldn't get through to the TV stations because they were calling on landlines. Then you got down Alabama and the south, and a lot of counties only had two radios in the county for emergencies. Like one, the ambulance or fire service had one, and the sheriff had a radio. So like they had only two walkie-talkie type radios, in the whole county. And there's some counties down in Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia are so poor that they only had two radios, one for the sheriff, one for emergency dispatch, like the ambulance or the fire ambulance, or the ambulance had one. The one ambulance in the county had one, and the sheriff has the only two-way radio they had in the whole county, and they knew it was coming. And this old guy from like one of the poor counties in northern Alabama was interviewed in a 2014 documentary, and he was called, and the guy from National Weather Bureau called him about 3 p.m. He said, look, about 6 p.m., your area is going to get the worst severe weather event it's ever had in its history. They were warning those people because they saw what came through Louisville, And they're warning them down in Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, all the poor counties. Look, he said, you ever get prepared. Around 6 p.m., all hell's going to break loose. And it's going to be the worst severe weather event you've seen in your entire history of your state or county. So they're calling ahead at 6 p.m. to all the sheriff's departments, emergency services. Then one area got hit by 3 tornadoes at once. One tornado went through town. Then they're at the hospital, and 2 more tornadoes came right through that same path. Huge tornadoes. Like the hospitals are full. Then a second tornado just took the same path as the other one, coming right through the emergency area where they were processing the injured. Like they're doing a whole documentary. One was in their I did a story on a couple, and they're down south, and he's out on a ride with his girlfriend, his brand new Mustang, right? And they got caught in a tornado, and they decided, well, death can happen anytime. And they got married right after that. They both recovered, and that's what they decided to get married because they're a young couple, and they said, well, death can hit us at any time, so we're gonna go out and get married. And but I sat there and listened every anniversary. I listened to the old radio broadcast on WHAS radio in Louisville, because they'll play it when there's nothing happening. There's doing basic like, oh, we have rain showers moving in Louisville. Then finally get the update from the airport that something big's coming, that tornado. And that guy's like, back then they didn't have the radar, so he's going, wait a minute, something's coming. 60 knots, 70 knots, 80 knots. Oh my God! And it cuts off. That's what the guys from the Louisville International, Sanford Field was saying. Look, we got something moving in. The wind's being 40 knots, 50 knots, 60 knots, 70 knots, 80 knots, 90 knots. Oh my God! And it just cuts off. Then the guy that was actually flew the helicopter for WHAS radio actually warned his daughter to get in the basement. He checked on her to school. Back then, dads actually was at their daughters. And he made it part of his job, because back then he'd radio back traffic reports, but he made it mandatory. He gets to check, make sure his daughter followed his daughter home from school. And he'd wave her back. But he'd wave him down in the basement, and he's an old World War II pilot. And he was their pilot for years, and he was telling her, you Lord. And she knows he was coming down real low and motioning her to get down in the basement, because he's tracking the tornado and radioing back in the radio station on what was going on. And no one knew in Louisville what was going on. And he was radioing back. He was like telling her, get down in the basement. And she got in the basement just time. And one parent heard about it and told his kids who just getting out of school, get in the basement now. And like right when they reached the basement, it hit, because their parents heard what was going on. And they lived in the Highlands neighborhood, and they right when they came home, they thought their kids were dead. The whole neighborhood was destroyed, and they found their kids sitting on a block unharmed, because they managed to get them, and they were just getting home from school, getting their things right on pad or whatever from school, and the phone rang. Their dad said, "Look, get in the basement now. Don't ask questions. Go." And they got in there, and like 30 seconds later, the tornado hit and destroyed the home. And they thought their kids were dead. They lost their kids. They found them unharmed, sitting on a street corner, and their parents picked them up. For the years, amazing stories. You watch the old interviews of these old people that were teenagers back then. So kind of like that I remember that tornado hit Enterprise, Alabama. Brady, how far were you from Enterprise when that tornado hit? I left a comment in one of the obituaries for the kids because it made national news. And I looked up the Enterprise website, one of the funeral homes, I left a comment and then a couple months ago, on the anniversary, I called their local school that got hit, and it's already built. And I said, look, I was like the Weber, and I said, look, I visit a YouTube page one of your students made back in 2007, and I move a comment every year because I remember that's the first major event that I had internet for that you could really comment, whatever. And I will never forget that, because that was actually the first time I hit a school, and I was raising foster kids that were about high school age, and that really hit close home. And I never forget about it, because I was always afraid of them for going to school when there's bad weather, and I always wanted to keep them home because and that hit. And at that time, I was raising a group of teenagers that were being neglected. So that's one event I'll never forget. That hit a school, and kids that age was killed. So, and I told them, I'm glad you guys Mostly made it safe, but I'll never forget what happened to you guys. And like I went back and every year I'll comment on the page. And it's all local people that grew up and stuff. But I'm the only one from Indiana that comments on it because I remember that and having kids that age and school and always terrified something like that's gonna happen. Because one of them, the youngest, we had a real bad storm and the tornado was coming. And literally, this is somebody else's kid I'm just looking after. I'd put every blanket, I'd put him in the bathtub, everything in your blanket in the house was on top of him. Then I cover him with my own body in case the roof collapsed. I would die and he'd be unarmed. So I kind of was very protective of them. I put myself in danger to protect them. And he was, a short, skinny kid. So I just managed to get him in the bathtub, cover him up every blanket in the house, and then every pillow, and I threw my body on top of the blankets in case the apartment fell down. I'd be protected. And I protected those kids in my life. And I was like, Brandy, get in the tub right now because if this happens, something big happens, don't worry about mine safety. I'm worried about you. You still got some growing up to do. I said, I lived my life. I said, my main concern is your safety. You're only 13. You don't need to die. I'm 25, 20. Yeah. I said, the Lord wants me to take me. I said, you're only 13. You don't need to die in this. So I said, whatever happens, you're getting in that tub. I'm covering up everything. I'm going to cover up myself and don't come out until either I tell you or you hear everything calms down. And don't worry about me no matter what. You're the important one. And his dad didn't give two craps about him. And I was like, well, I'll take care of him. I took him under my roof. I had a extra money time. I took him under my roof and took care of him. And that's the main reason I took a job at Taco Bell. So I'd have enough money. But back then, like things were so cheap, I could get $100 to fill it up. Get real good cuts of meat and everything. Fill up a whole cart at Walmart for under $100. That's how cheap food was in 2007 compared to now. I filled up a whole cart at Walmart for under $100 of real good, decent, high quality food. Give them their treats, their snacks they want. I was buying lamb, cooking it. I was buying everything. It's roast, and still had a full cart with $100. So you didn't eat well, you just get enough for yourself and food stamps. And still, if you cook right, you can feed 2 or 3 different teenagers that are hungry all the time. Like everybody hungry teenager, I start building. It's like, hey, tell your friends anyone who don't have a home or not getting enough food, come over and eat. And I ate, and I was able to cook. I was raised ready to cook from scratch and could cook for anybody. And hold on, I gotta use the restroom.